Why are interest rates still higher than expected? And will they decrease in 2023? Let's answer those questions along with reviewing January's market data information. I'm Brendan. I'm the data focused realtor. Let's jump into the information. Why, again, are rates not at 5.5%? Well, the answer is the spread. What the heck is that? It's basically the fear index and the uncertainty index of the American population. So, the higher the fear and uncertainty, the higher the interest rates. It's a correlation, right? And we see that right now we're at 6.48% on some high ranges. That's because we have a 2.79% spread versus a normal 1.79% spread. So how do we put this, how do we make sense of this in a bigger picture? From January of last year, we've seen an increase, right, in the interest rates because, especially June of last year, inflation was on the Fed's agenda, saying, "Hey, we don't have control of it." And you see that just large increase all the way through October, November of last year. And then suddenly there's a drop, right? There's a decrease, a downward trend. And that's because the Fed has announced that there's been a decrease in interest rates. So panic is starting to subside a little bit. But just as you can see here, we're still about a 1% difference in the spread. And now the uncertainty is going to be April and May of this year of 2023. And that's what Congress is going to do with debt limit. If they don't increase it and more uncertainty and fear does come into the marketplace, then expect this to change course and possibly increase again. Higher interest rates equal less buyers, more expensive. And it causes an issue for the real estate market. So what about pending contracts? Because this also tells us a story, right? So we know there's more listings, more sellers coming on the market, plus less pending contracts. What does that equal? A buyer's market. Buyers do have a higher probability of getting a good and better deal on a home or a fair deal on the home and having their closing costs paid for and all assortment of other items. So do know if you're a seller that you will have to sell at a fair price or you sit on the market or you don't sell at all, right? So what about the housing forecast 2023? I brought this up quite a few times over the last few months. Basically, this just tells us that nobody is in agreement on what's going to happen, whether it's appreciation or depreciation. We know that to be a fact. We also know they're in agreement that we're not going to have any type of crash or any type of free fall in prices, right? That's what this tells us, which is also great news. So then, look, if you're a buyer, then know that the upcoming months, we should see a return of buyers to our market. And as mortgage rates appear to have already peaked, then we have been coming down since mid-November. So basically, if our rates stay consistent, then we should anticipate buyers being they're accepting that this is the new normal, right? We're no longer at a 3% interest rate, and they're working with those mortgage payments, along with seeing a small decrease in the housing prices. We're not seeing a 40% drop by any means, but we have seen 8% or 12% drops, depending where you're at within at least the Austin marketplace. Also, so be advised, this may be the one and only window for the next few years to get into a buyer market. And remember, as the Federal Reserve data shows, home prices only go up and always recover from recessions, no matter how mild or severe. So long-term homeowners should view the market right now as a very unique buying opportunity. That is 100% true across the board. So let's go into the data from last month. The average days to sell, right? How many days did it take a seller to sell? Have definitely increased from 2021 to 58 days. Already, the new data that we see this month is already 60 plus days. They continue to basically sit longer and longer on the market because sellers are still a little unrealistic with some prices. New listings, we do see 1,965 new listings, but here's the great news. That's super close to the pre-pandemic number, averaging 1843. So we're almost in line with normal new listings coming to market. That's great news. And we also see that same type of data here in January. So there's consistency. There's a close price to list price, meaning, hey, 97% your buyers are able to get below the list price when they go under contract. That's also known across the board. The median list price is at 468,000, right? That's higher than 2021, 2022. Now I'm mentioning this, all right, because the median close price at 448, that is lower than your 2021. So the previous year closed price. So let's put this together. If the list price is still super high, right? It's higher than any year before, but the closed prices are lower than the previous year. Again, that tells us there's a difference in people listing too high on their homes and they're closing at a lower number, again, a more fair number, what the market deems correct. Now, if you look into the 2020 year at 368,000, anybody who sells around that median close price of 448, you're still making tons of appreciation, tons of equity on your property compared to owning a home in 2020. So that's the great news. You're not losing out when it comes to overall increase in appreciation. Next, active listings, sold listings. We do see fewer sold homes versus pre-pandemic, and we do see a very large inventory at 8.6 months. So buyers, what the heck does this mean? It's still a buyer market, but it's just a window in time. So we don't know how long this is going to last before we go back to our inventory issue because builders aren't building as much as they were or opening new permits. That's a whole other story. Mortgage applications have increased up to 28%. That means buyers are coming back to the market on the new year. Fantastic news. Mortgage rates are also more consistent. So versus coming from your 6 to 6.4 to 6.6 and now a drop, we're seeing that consistent rate between that 5.99 to 6.25%. We also have a lot of creative financing options. So for people who can't quite afford the mortgage right now, they're using ARMs, which as long as you follow either a 5-arm, 6-year arm, 10-year arm, or just ask us what the heck that means. And if you're responsible with your finances, that's a great option. Temporary buy downs are really, really wonderful as well. Points can be okay depending on what your objective is. So usually that's where people reach out, ask us, hey, I'm not really sure what makes the most sense before I buy a home. That needs to be reviewed. You can save an average of $20,000 on a property when purchasing, and negotiation with the seller is, of course, 100% possible. We are seeing traditional price drops, and new builds are a great deal right now. You're able to go ahead and get a low interest rate, artificially low interest rate with builds. You're also able to get a great deal because they're going to be very competitive with price, at least just in this time. Sellers, okay, what about you? Austin, of course, is a buyer's market. Buyers getting what they want. Buyers have negotiation power. They have about 60% of the power right now. There is higher inventory, so expect more competition. The selling strategy is absolutely different. Please reach out if you have a question on how the traditional way of selling is completely different than the new way of selling. If you try to think of going the old route, you're going to stay on the market. You're not going to sell at the price that's fair. Now, also expect reduction in prices as inventory increases. And again, we talked about April and May creating some uncertainty. So we'll have to watch out for the debt limit. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. I love education and teaching. I want to make sure that everybody has a full understanding of truly what's happening. If you're one of my past clients and you're just trying to figure out what my value is, you know I'm always here for you. If you're a future client, future customer, reach out. We are happy to answer those questions as well. All right. See you next month.